Good evening from Strong Voice Today. Good evening from Southeast Asia. This will be episode 251 of the alienanalprobe.com podcast. No, that's wrong. They're not podcasts anymore. They're videos. They're all videos from now on, probably. But they are no longer offered up to the RSS feeds. Those are gone. Well, they're not gone. The existing ones are still there, but we will no longer update any RSS feed. If you want to know why, just go to alienanalprobe.com and you get right down near the list of episode links. And there's a graph there showing what RSS has been doing over quite a number of years. And there ain't no upside. It's just down. It's just a ski slope. People don't like them. That's all. People just don't like them. I think they have kind of shot themselves in the foot. They're relentless with their spam. They're constantly begging and pestering and annoying for subscriptions. The interfaces have gotten clunkier and clunkier. They won't do video. They're just dead. They're just dead. For all intents and purposes, they're dead, and we will not indulge them any further. We will watch the hits and the views on ours for some period of time until they reach a point where they're just not doing anything anymore, and then we'll just pull them all together. We'll just erase them. It's not worth the effort. Okay. Well, the voice is weak because I've been in bed hiding under the covers for 7 days and 7 nights. Why? Monkeypox? Tuberculosis? Cancer. What else you got? Alien venereal disease. That's a big one. Nope. Ice cream. Ain't shitting anybody. Ice cream. Ice cream can and does and will produce a thing called listeria. It's a lovely little bug. You get it a lot from lettuce. I'm not exactly sure. And with lettuce and produce, it usually gets in there because animals and people very often south of the border poop out in the fields where they're picking the stuff. I cannot imagine how it gets into ice cream. I don't want to know. Google it, listeria. Anyway, what happens is when ice cream sits warm or warmish for some period of time, listeria can spread in it. My hunch is that there's always a teensy tiny little bit in probably all ice cream. I don't know. And when it gets warmed up, the listeria bug says, "Oh, happy days are here." They go berserk. So what happens in the U.S., in the Western countries, in the real countries, people don't like to get sick. And so if they get a little teensy taste of listeria or something like that, they go screaming to the supermarket managers and they say, "You son of a bitch, you made me sick. I've been on my back for 6 days, 7 days, 9 days, and that's your fault, and I'm going to sue you." Well, in the U.S., they really can. That's a valid threat. And they do pretty often. Go to the health department. If you can tie the bacteria in your poop to the bacteria in any leftover ice cream, genetically, bingo, gotcha. The minimum awards seem to start at about 10 grand. So if you got sick and you know what it was, you're really sure what food caused it, go to your health department in the U.S., not anywhere else. Maybe in the U.K., I'm not sure. Go to your health department and say, "I'm sick because I think it's this. I want to be tested," and they'll test you. And if it is, they'll document it. And then go to town, baby. Go to court, because this bullshit has got to stop. Okay. because of all that, the U.S. is really careful with food handling. Not so much anymore because half of the U.S. is, third world country now, but it used to be really, really careful. It's still a teensy bit more careful than third world countries, but not entirely. But in third world countries, the places I prefer for other reasons, they don't give a rat's ass. They don't know about food handling. They don't care about food handling. They think being sick once every week or two is just part of life. That's just normal. I've had so many Southeast Asian girlfriends that are just sick all the time from everything. And they just think it's normal. They were raised that way. And they will try to tell you, oh, we have strong stomachs. We're immune to it. Bullshit. Their immunity, they do build up the teensiest little bit of immunity because they've been sick since birth. Really. And so they think they think that their immunity is somewhere up around 90%, from that of a Westerner. No, it's not. It's about 4 or 5%, stronger stomach than that of a Westerner. So they just convince themselves that they're immune, and when they get sick, it's like, oh, well, I don't know, I'm not really sick. They're in there puking their guts out, from both ends, and you're just hosing them down. I'm not really sick. No, I am Thai. I am Cambodian. We don't get sick. It's only Western. That's how it goes. So anyway, what happens with the ice cream situation is that since they don't give a rat's ass about food handling, even in the best parts of all of Southeast Asia, the most upscale parts, they don't care because it's not part of their culture. And also, they're loath to spend even one butt too much on electricity. So they'll go around and feel the ice cream in the freezers. If it's hard, oh, God, geez, no, crank that baby up, crank that freezer up. That's too cold. And what happens is, inadvertently, they end up with thawed ice cream somewhere in the freezer. Something's going to thaw. Customer comes along and picks it up, as I did. And I think, oh, that's a little soft. That's okay. That's like soft ice cream from Dairy Queen. That's fine. Take it home. I kind of like soft ice cream, so I gobble down a pint. Next morning, oh yeah. So 7 days and nights in bed on my back. Couldn't even get out to pay my bills. Couldn't even dress. Couldn't even just kind of crawl into the bathroom. Luckily it's close. That is my third bout with listeria in Southeast Asia. One bout of it in the U.S. due to a global outbreak of processed lunch meat. All recalled, but I got one of the few remaining packages of it. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, what did I do to you? So anyway, so that's 4 times for me total. And it is a bugger. It's not necessarily life-threatening unless you're young or old or have brown hair or green eyes or wear gray t-shirts. Any of that stuff, that'll kill you. You got any of those comorbidities that you just fucking kill you. So that's the story of listeria. Nasty little bug. Nasty, life-stopping little bug. And I don't see it improving any time in my lifetime. So what's the story on ice cream for me now? Anywhere? No. Done. If it gets thawed and you refreeze it, doesn't matter. It's still in there. It's still in there and fully viable. So you refreeze it, freeze it for a year. Doesn't matter. You open that baby and it's rock solid, and you eat it down. You got listeria. So, word to the wise, I hope. In the colder climates, that's not such a problem. You know, Alaska, it's not really a problem because things are ambiently, much colder. So they don't have to be quite as careful with the freezer temps and stuff like that. And this could happen. You could get this from a load of ice cream. Okay, the ice cream comes in on a flight, from Austria to Bangkok. And somewhere in the middle of that flight, something wasn't really being tended all that well, and it thawed. And they got it on the ground, and they got it into the truck. And they go, oh, shit, it's all melted, it's all melting. And so they freeze it down real quick. Doesn't matter. It's not necessarily the store's fault. In this case, it was the store's fault. It was soft where I bought it. It was really almost liquid. Listeria is a fairly rare thing. You're looking at under 1% of people get it. But if you get it, you ain't going to forget it. Okay, so let's see. The last one, 250, turned into audio only. Why? Because Bill Gates fucked us again. A fucking moron piece of shit. Camera failed again. All we could salvage was the audio. Showed it was recording. Showed everything was fine, and it weren't. So now we have three cameras to record. Just hoping we got a 50-50 chance of capturing an entire episode on video. 3 cameras. That's what it's come to, people. I remember I had a fairly big printing shop lifetimes ago. Many, many computers and printers all around, everything just running and humming all the time, nonstop. And I got to the point with Windows where I scheduled all the Windows machines to automatically reboot every so many hours. It's like between 8 and 12 hours, because I knew that after that you were just pushing it. They were going to crash. They were going to lose a printing job halfway through, and then you were going to lose all that ink and all that product because it didn't complete. You just take that puppy out. It might have been a big wall-sized poster. Take it out, throw it away. And you say, thank you, Uncle Bill. Thank you so much. So we just rebooted them, all the time, continuously, 24/7. And that helped. It did help. But it was a shitty thing to have to do. Because when they boot back up, then you got to reset everything, and you got to make sure all the printers came back online. And God. In the rescue business, I was in the rescue business a long time, marine rescue. It occurs to me that if we had to rely on Windows for much of anything at all, as opposed to our nuts and bolts, tried and true hardware, lots and lots of people would have died because Windows wasn't up to the task. It just, some critical moment it would have crashed. And God, what a pathetic piece of shit that software is. We're moving inexorably closer to Linux. I did Linux before. I didn't like it because I couldn't run a lot of the stuff that I needed to run, particularly Adobe Suite. Now I see that Adobe, they just informed me, Adobe has doubled or possibly a little more. I'm not sure on the exact numbers. Just from one year to the next, they have doubled or a little more the cost of their Suite subscription. So that may be it for me and Adobe. That's an arrogance and a greed that I don't want to abide. That's a bridge too far. That's I don't have words for it. Nobody else does either. It's about as stupid as when Zuckerberg announced that if you bought an Oculus VR set and he didn't like, personally, he didn't like, and all of his minions, if they didn't like something you said, he'd shut off your Oculus and brick it, and you were fucked, and you would lose all the apps and games you paid for. People thought that was just a teensy bit cheeky. No, they thought it was fucked in the head. Well, it was fucked in the head. But Adobe's latest stunt is, I put it on the same level as that. Just fucked in the head. Just fucked. It's greed. Just pure, unadulterated greed. Obnoxious, absurd, ludicrous. Doubled or more, 1 year to the next. What about the struggling artists? They're barely making a living anyway. Suddenly they're, not to belabor the word, but they are fucked. No way they can absorb an increase like that. Adobe says, we don't give a shit. We don't care about our customers. We don't care. We just want to make money fast as we can. So, fuck Adobe. So anyway, the point is, if we ditch Adobe and find other alternatives, then there's really not much reason to stick with Windows. And that would enable us to go to a vastly more reliable OS called Linux, one of the Linux variations. Okay. End rant. God, it felt good. I want to bring a teensy little bit of attention to a thing called the Fire Officer's Guide to Disaster Control. Fire Officer's Guide to Disaster Control. Fun little document. I think a couple of guys, one or two guys, co-wrote it. I'm not sure. One or two guys, I don't know. Way, way, way back in the day. As just kind of a general guide to be used by fire departments around the country in case of mass calamity stuff. These are your priorities. This is what will save the most lives. Like that. Really sensible document. The weird thing was, when did the first one come out? 52? I'm not sure, but a long time ago. It had a very long section on what to do if a UFO crashes in your city. Now, the government didn't put this out, but when this got widely distributed to virtually every fire department in the country, the government didn't say beep. They said nothing at all. They didn't bucket. They didn't say, hey, why don't you take this part out? We don't really like that. No, they said nothing at all. And they just let it stand. And people took that as an implicit acceptance of the government's real knowledge of UFOs. I sort of do too. I mean, what other reason could you have to let that go, to just turn a blind eye to that? If you thought it was nonsense and UFOs were silly and you were silly for thinking about them and silly for studying them, you would go in and say, hey, look, these fire departments, they're paid by us, the government, and we don't like that shit in those books. Get that out of there. No, not one peep ever. So there have been several iterations, well, at least a couple, I think, since then, and it's a fun read. Most of it's just nuts and bolts, common sense. But scroll down to the UFO part, and then it gets interesting. Been out there for decades and decades. If you have a friend or family in the fire department, they may or may not be aware of it. Just have them go poke around their station, see if they can find a copy of it. It's somewhere. Virtually every station in the country has it somewhere, maybe tucked in a drawer, maybe locked in a file cabinet. But it's they've got them, and they've been reading them, especially lately. Okay, so here we go. Everybody knows we have a giant collection of alien encounter reports. Oh, God. And we go through them one by one, line by line. We look for bullshit. When we find it, we delete them. When we think we might have something credible, we say, okay, how credible is it? And we take a little pinch of sand, commensurate with the amount of credibility that report should have. We drop it in a big bucket. We pick out the cat shit first. It's a big bucket of sand. We drop it in there, and that makes the sand more fuller. And then the cat goes and shits in there again. We got to take the shit out again. But Frankenberry, he's around. He comes up behind you. He hasn't decided yet if the camera is stealing his soul, because he said he heard that on TV, Roy Rogers or something like that. And it was true in the old days. The Indians thought that, American Indians. So he's not sure. He's thinking maybe they were onto something. But he still likes to look. He likes to look at it. And I've told him, don't you do anything inappropriate, you little son of a bitch. I don't want to edit it out. He's like, okay, but I got a gun. I can do what I want. Yeah, fuck you too. Okay, so here we go. First one. Karkiyaka. Yeah, I think that's right. Karkiyaka. And then they do it to you again. Karelia, Russia. 1917, so we're in the Wayback Machine. Time is unknown. Eni Letu. Nice simple name, kind of like Bob, Observed a saucer-shaped object that landed near her house. Okay, that's really clear, and it's really simple. I like it so far. It gets more complicated than that. And, my brain gets a little woozy, especially now. I mean, just looking up from the camera, my brain gets a little woozy. I thought I could eat today. It'd be the first day in 7 days. I went out and got dressed. First time I went out and bought some chicken nuggets, and now I'm thinking about those nuggets, and I'm thinking maybe not today. I'll go back to chocolate-covered grasshoppers. Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. All right. After a short while, something resembling a staircase protruded from the object, and small humanoid shapes descended to the ground. Well, perfectly normal. I mean, who has not had that happen? Someday we all will have that happen. The beings, what are they? Let's see, after a short while. Yeah, they're small. It just says small. But what do they look like? Do they look like humanoids? Do they look like spiders? Come on. Wouldn't you describe them? Are they blue? Are they green? Are they red? Are they got hair? They don't have hair. Come on. The beings apparently approached the frightened witness. Why didn't she run? If she's frightened, well, I don't know. She's near her house, so maybe she feels emboldened by that. I mean, I can see her screaming, "Wilbur, get that shotgun!" Happened lots of times. Okay. Huh. Okay, and the small humanoids descended to the ground. How'd they descend? Oh, down the staircase, I guess. The beings apparently approached the frightened witness and insisted in taking her along. God, we talked about this so many times. Okay, here's, and we talked about this aspect of it too. Many times they'll say, hey, baby, you want to go to our planet? 3 of the goddamn cool. You'll like it. Everything is made out of pink fluff. You can ride a unicorn. You can have a purple one. We got them there. Come on, you can ride a unicorn naked anytime you want. It'll be your very best friend in the world. Just watch that horn, and it can go places you don't want it to go. And we got chocolate. And we got wine. And it's warm. And we have robotic males that do any goddamn thing you want in there. Their batteries never, ever run down. That's what they tell them. They tell them shit like that. And, it says they insisted. Sometimes, that's what I'm going to say. Sometimes they say, hey, baby, you want to go? And sometimes they say, come on, bitch, you're going. Come on. Like that. They insisted in taking her along, and she was taken to their ship. How was she taken? Did they run up and grab her? Put her under an alien spell? Because wouldn't you run into the house? Wouldn't you scream for Wilbur? Hurry up with that shotgun. Hurry up. Sounds a teensy little bit fishy to me. 1917, in the middle of nowhere in Russia, that they're not copying too many other known reports. She was taken to the ship. The object flew for several hours, covered a lot of damn ground or space in several hours. And throughout the journey, she was engaged in telepathic communication. Oh, it's a tough day for me. First day of life. Really like a zombie. No, like a vampire. Been sleeping. Yeah, halcyon dreams for 7 days and nights. It was lovely. Just lovely. I so enjoyed it. All because somebody can't properly control their freezer, That's it. Really pisses me off, to tell you the truth. In the U.S., I'd be at the health department. But in these countries, there's nothing like that. Nothing. You buys your crap and you takes your chances. Throw up for 20 days. Nobody going to help you. Or care. Okay. She was taken to the ship. The object flew for several hours, and throughout the journey, she was engaged in telepathic communication with a being she thought to be the leader of the others before being returned to Earth. Oh, hell. I told you I felt hokey about this. And now I see why. First of all, I'm thinking, why, if they want to talk to her telepathically, they don't have to fly around for several hours. They just, I don't know, maybe, who knows? But here's the but. After her abduction, Annie became a famous soothsayer in the area. Okay, I'm thinking Annie had a hankering to become a famous soothsayer. And it wasn't working out. She wasn't getting the traction. So she thought, I read this in a comic book. Could this work? If I was abducted and the aliens gave me a bunch of cool information, would I be believed? Well, not by everybody, certainly, but by enough people to bring me free eggs and shit like that. Very, very possibly. So she made up this story, and it worked. She became a famous soothsayer in the area. Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to give that credibility. How much credibility do you want to give that? How much? Wish I had a live poll thing, 1 grain, 2 grain, 5 grain, 100 grains, 2 cups, 1 bucket, like that. I ain't giving it. I'm not even giving it the hair. No, I'm not giving it the dust off the hair on the ass of 1 molecule of silica sand. That's how much I loathe it. Okay. Here, Pina Cosa, Albacete, Spain, 1917, in case I didn't speak correctly. Afternoon, the Alguacil family was working in a field when they saw a large hat-shaped object descend to the ground and land on 4 legs nearby. 3 or 4 legs, that would be reasonable. One case had it on like 9 legs or something. I don't know what the hell that was about. 2 men exited the object and briefly walked around the area. They were described as very tall, wearing metallic gray outfits. Very tall. How tall? 10 feet. Shit. The family claimed to have seen a symbol resembling the letter H. Whoa. Well then, that makes us sit up a teensy bit, doesn't it? The family claimed to have seen a symbol resembling... Oh, come on. Oh, I want to sleep for 5 days. A symbol resembling the letter H on the side of the object. The end. The only thing really of any value in there is the notion of the letter H on the side of the object. That's been reported quite a few times. An H-looking thing. Not necessarily an H, and probably not an H, but kind of a sort of a looking like an H thing, It probably really means, fuck you, Earthlings. We're here for your women and your goats. Something like that. That's what it really means. I don't know. So the letter H is kind of interesting, especially in 1917, especially in rural Spain. Yeah, I can go 3 grains of sand. Okay. I don't like this era. Let's go time warp. Okay. Location not stated. Okay. If they're so drunk they don't know what continent they're on, then fuck them. 1970, times afternoon. A young witness remembers following her dog into a wooded area and becoming lost. That's something, I don't do unless I got a gun. I don't follow that stupid dog or the cat anywhere because you don't know what's out there. I don't care to be probed. She remembered being taken on board a craft by 3 men, not quite human looking, several long instruments. Oh, wait, no, there's supposed to be a period there. God, okay. She remembered being taken on board a craft by 3 men, quote, not quite human looking, period. Several long instruments. Oh, fuck. When I chose a name for this website, I had no clue that it was going to become the most descriptive phrase of the entire thing. Numbers don't lie, I ain't making it up. Oh, hell. How old is she? Young witness, just says young. She remembered being taken on board a craft by 3 men, not quite human looking. Several long instruments then examined her. Here we go down the rabbit hole, including her sexual parts. Why? 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 Why are the aliens so intensely interested in the sexual parts? It does not matter. They got the DNA. That's it. Fly away, motherfuckers. You know, that's all you're getting. What do they care? The exact, structure and condition of the sexual parts. Why do they care about that? It doesn't make any sense. Unless they're trying to figure out if she's breedable, Why this fascination that you never hear about them minutely examining anybody's ears or their toes or their knees. Always the sexual parts. Well, I mean, for us, for Earthlings, that's the most interesting part. Okay, granted, but not for aliens. I don't go around, catching rats for scientific purposes and then minutely examining their sexual parts. I do not care. I don't want to see them, especially. Shit. One of the men objected. Well, this is fascinating. I don't remember this one. Alienanalprobe.com. Okay, just burn that into your brain. Several long instruments then examined her, including her sexual parts. One of the men, aliens, objected to further examinations. And she was eventually released back into the woods. That is one fascinating line. What were they doing that pissed off this one alien? Were they getting a little too frisky? Enjoying it a little too much? Taking selfies? Something pissed him off. And he said, that's enough. That's enough, guys. Gone too far. Let her go. Something pissed him off. That is totally fascinating line. Totally fascinating line. So it almost suggests that aliens, at least some of them, might possibly remotely have a little bit of morality that's in line with Earth morality. Maybe. Okay. No other information. That's the end. Okay, comments. There's some comments down here. Oh, there's no additional description on the humanoids. What the fuck? We knew that. Jesus Christ. No comments of any goddamn interest. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, I've said 1,000 times that sometimes when young people regardless of sex, young people, when they are subjected to something really what they consider to be horrific, stressful, they can often try to turn it into a different kind of experience. There's a term for it, a psychological term for it. I can't think of it off the top. Possibly girls do it more. Maybe just because girls are more subject to crazy stuff like that. So I'm just wondering. Just bear with me. I'm wondering if, I'm not saying this is the case here. I'm wondering if your little dog ran off. Toto, he runs off. And she would, come back here, you little bastard, I'll beat you with a cane. And he's like, no, fuck you, can't catch me. Maybe tomorrow I'll come back. And then some guys are out there in the woods, pedophiles. And they grab her. This is 1970, so they could have had, sexual instruments. And what they're doing, walking around out in the woods with them. Maybe she's nearby a school or subdivision or something. And they're just hanging out there just on the off chance, That's what they do. Sharks. They're sharks. So she wanders out there, and the guys grab her, and they do terrible shit to her. And then when it gets right to the point of a crime that's going to mean the death penalty, one of the guys said, no, that's enough. That's enough, guys. You had your fun. That's enough. We're not doing this shit today. And he tells them to bugger off. And they do. And she runs away. So which scenario is more likely? Because she's really vague about, just a craft. There's no description. Could have been a travel trailer. Could be. I can't do anything with it. I can't. Oh wait, here's another note down here. It says, God, I don't like these. I don't give really any credibility to them. They say reliability of source. We don't know who the source is. Is a 10 on a 1 to 10. It means absolute godlike truth. Usually when they say it's a 10, it's a 5, by my scale. It means 50-50, could go either way. I wouldn't even give this a 5, I'd give it a 4. Okay, no, I can't. No. Okay, coast of Placida, Florida, date 1970, times late evening. I scan my cameras to see which ones are still up and running. Thank you, Bill. You hairy-ass fool. God, he got so rich on fucking us over. What a piece of garbage. He just crammed that OS together, just crammed it and piled more shit on it. He doesn't even know what's in it anymore. The senior engineers don't know what's in it. They can't even repair it themselves. It's just this massive living digital shit. Kind of works, sort of, sometimes not. Maybe it can be repaired. Sometimes not. Nobody cares. I'm on a rant today. Okay. Being near death, that'll do it to you. Shit. Pretty sure I saw Jesus. All I really saw was a hairy guy with a beard, middle finger sticking up. He said something like, keep up that swearing, you're going to fucking hell, asshole. I'll see to it personally. That's what he said. I said, well, I'm going there anyway, so what the fuck? And then I woke up, Okay. Costa Placida, Florida, 1970, late evening. 2 fishermen took their boats out into the Gulf of Mexico, and while fishing, they spotted a very large, hairy, man-like creature swimming in the water. This is in the salt water? Yeah. Well, there's weirdo crap out there. My cousin Bob swims out there quite a lot. He's the hairiest guy I ever saw. I got a picture of him. Sometime I'll fish it out and put it on here. He looks pretty much like a balding bear. Nose is shorter, That's it. Everything else is the same. Okay, this thing. Okay, very large, hairy, man-like creature swimming in the water. How very large? The thing swam out into the Gulf and they followed it. They reported that the creature swam out at least 29 miles. Oh, wait a minute now. 29 miles? Let's do the math on this. If they got an old displacement hull, fishing boat kind of a thing, they're going to be doing 7 miles an hour. Flat out, period. That's all they're going to do. You can put more power in them, but they're just going to make a bigger wake. So 29 miles is, that's quite a while of dogging this thing. If it was a speedboat, cover 29 miles, in an hour. But that presumes this thing is swimming at 29 miles or whatever, really, really fast. And so it's staying on the surface so they can see it all the time. And this is late evening, so it's dark. They kept a spotlight on him, right? All this time? I mean, that's not a, well, it can be a rough area, but it's traditionally not too bad of an area. But, I mean, there's wave action, there's swells and seas and stuff. It'd be hard to keep up with it. I don't know. I mean, hard to keep track of it, I should say. Okay, they said it swam out at least 29 miles. The captain stated that he had seen one of these creatures before swimming underwater, which is one reason I gave up commercial diving. I didn't want to see nothing like that. I did see a dragon once, but it wasn't real, so we could discount it. What in the hell? I try to refrain from reading these comments. They're so stupid. This one says, extremely bizarre Bigfoot type entity report. The swimming capability of such creatures has been documented often. Well, I don't follow them. I don't do Bigfoots. Big feet, Bigfoots, whatever the big five. But what the fuck are they? So I don't know how they can swim, supposedly. I'm too busy with aliens, which may be one and the same, I don't know. But he's going out on a limb here saying, well, that's a Bigfoot. That's a Bigfoot. Did he have flippers? Did he have an electric sled? How's he going so fast to get out there 29 miles? I mean, that's booking in the water. That's booking. He's got to be he's got to be planing. Come on, people. Jesus. This is why we pick him apart mercilessly. If they followed him for 3 full hours in the nighttime, that's 10 miles an hour. You are planing, a boat is planing at about 10, 11, 12, depending on the hull. So he's planing, right? So he could tow a water skier, right? I just can't go there. I just can't go there. No. Okay, bye-bye. Get off. Shit. Okay, Sydney, Australia. 1970 times 2100. 15-year-old boy noticed an orange glow at a nearby bush close to his home. Burning bush. He grabbed his dog and went to investigate. Yeah, I bet that dog loved that. His dog became disturbed and ran into the brush. The same brush that's burning? Oh, he's a go-getter. He did. He then became confused. I guess the kid, now we're back to the kid. He then became confused and had a period of apparent missing time. He then saw an owl fly past him. Oh, this is going woo-woo or something. He lost interest in the light and left. Years later, under hypnosis, the witness recalled, years later, but, the memories have had time to become totally and fully corrupted. So God knows what he thinks he saw years later. He could have thought he saw a duck in scuba gear, There's no fucking way to tell. Okay, years later, under hypnosis, the witness recalled seeing a bright object hovering close to the ground, and the bush was moving as if a strong wind was hitting it. Hypnosis has got to be done right away, within hours, before the brain has time to start manufacturing some crap. If it works at all, and I'm dubious as to whether or not it does. I know people who swear by it. Personally, knew them well. They swear by it. But I ain't there. The bush was moving as if a strong wind was hitting it, and he became frightened and sensed something coming towards him. 2100, so it's dark. He felt something like claws grasping at him on both arms, and he was then taken on board an object. He struggled, but then found himself lying on his back. He recalled seeing a face looking down on him in oh, God, hell. Right eye saw it. Oh. See, in my delicate condition, that makes me gag up quite a lot. Oh, un momento, please. Okie dokie then. Holy crap. Found himself lying on his back. He recalls seeing a face looking down on him and a slimy tube being stuck down his throat. Oh, hell, God. He also recalled being submerged in a tub of pink fluid and being taken out by several squat, bluish beings. Oh, God, no, there's a note. Oh, I hate these notes. I mean, I would rather not read them, but you kind of have to, just in case. Reports of short, squat, bluish beings are apparently frequent with many times connected with abduction reports. I don't remember that many. Few. Not many, I wouldn't say many. The witness reported being submerged in a pink fluid. Heard of that a few times. This has also been reported before and appears to be some kind of transportation medium for humans, or maybe some kind of decontamination procedure. Oh, hell. What the hell are we going to do with that thing? I can't do much. For some reason, I instinctively don't like it, and I can't tell you why. Hypnosis thing again, probably. It could be. It's absolutely factual, every detail, but the best I could do would be, one molecule from one grain of sand into the bucket. Oh, God, that tube down the throat, that's what did me. Oh, shit. Okay, near Brooksville, Florida. 1970 times night. H.C. was resting in his camper when he heard a whirring sound outside. Oh, that tube. That slimy tube. Oh, hell, I'd almost rather be probed, I don't want no slimy tube stuck down my throat. Yeah, it happened once, but I was out, snoring away. Okay. H.C. was resting in his camper, Brooksville, Florida. when he heard a whirring sound outside. A disc-shaped object landed nearby on 4 legs, and from it emerged 4 small but human-like occupants. 3 men and a woman. Was the woman hot? You always have to know that. Because if some percentage of alien women are hot, then maybe there's some reason to not fight them when they come, They're probably not going to like us, but we can look at them, slobber, what men do. That's pretty much all we do. And the women just laugh like, oh, you're so stupid. And we are. We're the dogs. They're the cats. 3 men and a woman. All were masked. They spoke in a high, vibrating, sing-song manner, but the witness was unable to understand and was invited to inspect the craft. That's a curious thing. There's a percentage of them. It's fairly high percentage where the aliens supposedly say, hey, come on, man, take a look at this thing. We're really proud of it. We spent a lot of time building this thing. Well, we didn't build it, we grew it, but, whatever. Take a look. Just walk around. See what you think, Could you live here? You want to go probing humans? You could be our liaison. Oh, fuck, I want to do that. Oh, I want that so bad. I do. Please, Great Pumpkin. I want to be the liaison to the aliens. I could help them get so much shit done, that crazy shit that I understand about humans that they don't. Oh, my God. I could really be a benefit. I could enhance their work a very great deal. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to give me food. If I can take my cat, we're there. Sign me up. Can we have some fun? Can we play some jokes and stuff like that? Okay, then. Rock and roll, let's go. All right. He was invited to inspect the craft. The main section was like an army barracks. The pilot's quarters were simple with numerous lights and buttons to push. How big is this thing? Didn't say. He spent 10 minutes on board, being advised that was as long as he could safely remain. Radiation. Outside, he again heard the whirring noise, and a rotor on the object began whirling and flashing. Oh, man. Death is near. It really is. Oh, God. Holy crap. Okay. 10 minutes on board, being advised that was as long as he could safely remain. Outside, he again heard the whirring noise, and a rotor on the object began whirling and flashing colored lights. Oh, God. Comma, people, really, I'll pay you to use them. And a rotor on the object began whirring, and flashing colored lights were seen rotating inside the craft through the windows. The object rose straight up and disappeared from view. He later claimed to no longer be bothered by asthma, which he'd had all of his life. Okay, lots of reports. They run pretty much the gamut. Sometimes people say, man, I had terminal cancer when I went in there and I came out and I was cured. And others say, I was fine when I went in there, and when I came out, I had terminal cancer. Every kind of effect. And I don't have any kind of a sense on how much of it or any of it, assuming they even exist, could be true. There are cases where supposedly the aliens very pointedly come in and very clearly appear to cure someone of something, but those are rare. The whirring sound, flying saucers don't whir, do they? Well, yes, they do. I think it has to do with a peculiarity of their propulsion system. I believe possibly that when they're really near the ground and they engage any kind of anti-gravity thing, if they try to take off, they are either stuck to the ground, or when they do take off, they pull everything around them with them, twigs and leaves and frogs and stones and dirt and dog poop and, whatever, rats and cats and whatever. And they don't want to do that. So I think maybe they have to use some kind of mechanical means to get themselves up. Now, the rotors, when they do this, the rotors are always described as being really small. And people are saying, well, what the hell? This is a 3-foot rotor. How can that thing get this thing off the ground? That can't work. Well, I think what they do is they use anti-gravity to lighten it to the point where it only weighs 10, 20, 30 pounds. Then it takes next to nothing to levitate it up off the ground. A little tiny rotor can do that. It's not full anti-gravity. That's why they don't suck everything else with them. It just seems crystal clear to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that just seems crystal clear. That's what I would do. Old-fashioned brain that I have. That's what I would do. Okay. The colored lights were seen rotating inside the craft through the windows. The object rose straight up and disappeared from view. He later claimed to be no longer bothered by asthma, which he'd had all of his life. Well, maybe they can cure me of listeria. I'll teach you how to probe properly. Come on. Okay. Comments. God bless it. Reports of short and almost totally appearing humanoid occupants. What? Reports of short and almost totally appearing humanoid. Humanoid could be anything. 2 arms and 2 legs and a head. That's a humanoid. What the hell? Have become less frequent since the 1970s, but there are still isolated cases. These types of UFO occupants appeared to have been prominent in the early modern era of sightings. I don't agree with that. Whoever does these comments has got really strange interpretations of them. Just bizarre stuff. Okay. No credibility. Okay. We're over. We're supposed to be doing 30 minutes, and I should have kept it to 30 minutes, but I figured, well, what the hell? It'd be fun to just die right on camera. I got 3 cameras going to get 3 of them to document it. What the hell? Okay. I'm done. I can't do anymore. All right. Are we getting anywhere? Yeah, we get like 0.0000000 and 50 zeros% of sand in the bucket. Yeah, so it's measurably fuller than it was. Trouble is, Franklin goes in there and he craps in it, and then the sand sticks to his poopy, and then you try to take his poopy out, and then a little bit of sand sticks in there. So if you do a whole episode and you only get 4, 5, 10 grains of sand, and then he does that, you lose them all trying to get his crap out. God damn it. I ain't going to put no diaper on him. No self-respecting cat should ever be subjected to that. I don't care what the circumstance. Nope. Ain't going to do it. All right. Thank you very much. Good evening. That was a rough episode. That was all I could do. And what camera am I looking at? Oh, no, I forget. That one. Thank you very much, and good evening and good night. There, I think it's that one.